Okay, our next action, the last action of today, it's a true eye-opener. It's a real insight into the challenges faced by US prosecutors when they're trying to bring traffickers to justice. The challenges are many: silos, lack of understanding, and a system that's simply not set up to speed. The good news, though, is that a solution might be in reach, and presenting our next action is Rochelle Keyhan, the founder of Collective Liberty.
When I was a prosecutor in Philadelphia, I worked on the city's very first human trafficking cases. What that meant was I had to figure everything out as I went along, and let me tell you, it was not easy. One particularly complicated case that came across my desk involved a trafficker who preyed on a 12-year-old girl who had run away from foster care. He waited until the cold of winter to start trafficking her in exchange for a warm place to sleep. And that whole case made me realize that the system could and should be so much better. So when the case came across my desk, she was the only witness, but I knew based on the other cases I had seen in the news that there had to be more, so I researched. And amazingly, I found 4 other arrests in his history involving trafficking-related activity. So while that was exciting, it was also stressful because none of those cases were in the city of Philadelphia. So I didn't know the officers who worked on them, the prosecutors who worked on them, the court systems that they went through. We didn't have any specific contacts. So it meant a ton more work for me. I had no contacts, so I was getting transferred back and forth from department to department, sometimes taking weeks, even months, to find the right contact to tell me about that case, to share information about that case. So I was calling these police departments, prosecutors' offices, courthouses, asking for contact information. And when I finally got access to the right person and the right case file, it was so exciting, but also a little overwhelming, because then it meant I had to start that process all over again, calling people based on the other leads, especially because I wanted to find the victims in those cases so that they knew I was prosecuting their trafficker, so that they had that awareness and could opt in to participate if they wanted to. So that whole process for these trafficking cases often had me at my desk at 8 p.m. on Friday nights eating popcorn for dinner and saying, there has to be a better way. It was worth it in that case. We found 4 additional victims. They all wanted to cooperate in the case, and it led to at least 48 years of prison for the trafficker. But I was right, there is a better way, which is the action. So when I was sitting in my office in Philadelphia, struggling with that case, I wasn't the only one, and I'm not special. That is an experience felt across the nation for traffickers and law enforcement, legislators, everyone working at that official capacity, trying to do something about ending trafficking. Throughout my 8 years in the anti-trafficking field, I've traveled the nation, meeting people working on the front lines, law enforcement and prosecutors, also service providers and direct first responders. And many of them are prosecutors sitting in those same shoes that I was in when I was doing those cases. There's also law enforcement that find connections of their cases to other cities, but aren't sure what those cities are doing, if anything, to combat trafficking, let alone who they should contact. So basically, it's like right now, we're using the yellow pages to find people and places, while the traffickers blaze ahead of us. They're heavily organized, interconnected, and technologically savvy. As Val Ritchie said earlier today, we're fighting a forest fire with a garden hose, and we're just playing catch up. So there's a hunger in the field to remedy this. I've trained police officers and provided support to help entire departments shift their internal practices and their approach, not only to adopt national best practices, but also to connect with one another and help elevate each other's adoption of those best practices. We are doing this work with over 100 different jurisdictions across the United States, and dedicated anti-trafficking actors from across the nation, like New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, but also smaller but still very scrappy jurisdictions like Waco, Texas, have committed to continuing this work. But imagine what we could do if we could really scale this kind of collaboration. What we could do with, instead of flipping through the yellow pages and calling dozens of people before finding the right contact weeks or months later, we could build a nationwide system easily connecting everyone. Imagine a secure digital platform that a prosecutor looking for case files can log into and, with just a few clicks, find the contact in the next town over working on these same cases, or in the next state or states across the country, finding them within minutes, not weeks. Imagine a one-stop shop where a police officer planning a victim-centered investigation can find the NGO that has the exact services that the victims in his case will need, the right language skills, social services, legal support. A place where the people who care most about ending human trafficking and have that direct contact and power, working on the ground every day, can learn from each other, sharing best practices to take all of us to a higher place. The digital platform, the current title right now we're calling it is Forging Freedom. This type of platform is sort of the holy grail solution that even federal agencies like the FBI are attempting to find. What the field needs is someone to take the lead and pilot this initiative, pilot this platform and perfect it so that it can be scaled, not only in the US, but partners that we've talked to across the Americas and the UK are also asking for this type of facilitated collaboration. So while I've spent years building the kind of connections that will help get us to that place, I need help. I can't do it alone. So in order to scale the Forging Freedom platform, Collective Liberty will need primarily three things. The first is we need individuals and organizations at the local and national level to join our network. By using our digital platform to bridge time zones, cultures, languages, and more, they will build connections with their peers invested in ending human trafficking, advancing the field's ability to apply pressure on traffickers. Financial support is also necessary to help us strengthen and scale our work. The strongest support that we can provide our partners, both in person and on this platform, involves nuanced trainings from local experts in the field and identifies best practices by finding them, but also through utilizing case studies to really elevate the experts in the field and those best practices. This requires dedicated staff who have experience working within the systems we're trying to change, who can help those local actors change their own systems from within. Finally, we know our platform has to be incredibly secure so that our partners will trust it. So we need pro bono technical and legal support to advise us on platform security in compliance with cybersecurity best practices. So please join us in connecting and uniting the field. Thank you.
So you describe a very broken system, a system where you need to overcome unnecessary obstacles. And I think what's important to stress before we open it up to the room, that you are already connecting all these people. You're already at the center of this microcosm, micro-universe that you actually, you want to propel even further. This platform, safety, will be essential. Who will host it? How will it work?
So for now, right now, the platform is my cell phone. So I would say that to start, I would host it and hopefully move off of my cell phone onto a more secure, robust platform. And once we have worked with over 100 jurisdictions across the country and a few outside of the United States. So we would pilot that, refine it. We're hoping to build it based on the feedback and collaboration with the field. And once it's perfected, hopefully it gets systematized, adopted by governments, and we don't have to host it anymore.
Okay, awesome. So let's run through the support you need. Organizations to join, obviously, is essential. Financial support to scale your work, and pro bono legal and tech support. So lawyers, you heard that we need to ensure data protection here is it's paramount, is essential. Who can support with data protection work? Let's go to Julia.
Hi, I'm Claire Connellan. I'm a partner at White & Case, a global law firm and one of the sponsors of Trust. As leader of the firm's business and human rights practice and a pro bono leader, I can see great value in a project like this that allows you to connect anti-trafficking actors and share resources across jurisdictions. So with White & Case cybersecurity expertise and our pro bono experience in anti-trafficking, we would like to offer you our pro bono legal support for the digital platform and cybersecurity best practices.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Claire. And thank you, White & Case. So back to the first ask, expand the network. I feel we need other organizations able to connect you with bigger networks. Let's go to Catherine over there.
Hi, I'm Luke DePaul, co-founder and director of the Arise Foundation. which exists to strengthen anti-slavery networks in countries of origin, principally through civil society figures whose work is often neglected and chronically underfunded. We are also happy to be event sponsors for Trust this year. Rochelle, I want to congratulate you for your focus on networks. It's a crucially overlooked aspect of this work. And in this movement, a lot of lip service is paid to networks. But I've lost count of the number of times that opportunities for collaboration have failed because NGOs have been unwilling to risk losing out when it comes to the crunch. Authentic collaboration means sacrifice. And one of the groups that we work with is a huge international group of religious sisters in more than 80 countries who exemplify this sense of sacrifice. I'm delighted to say to Rochelle that I've already begun exploring conversations with these networks. One of those networks, Renata, is in 30 countries in the European region, and we had a very good call with the president of that network. And I, on Arise's part, can offer you all of the possibility of our thousands of frontline activists around the world in countries of origin to try and plug in what you're doing to what they're doing, to increase their power, to amplify their voices, and to help them in their partnerships in law enforcement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, that sounds brilliant. A network of networks. Let's go for some other support to Sarah over there.
Hi, Val Ritchie with the OSCE. Thanks, Rochelle, for your presentation.
Mic is on, just put it closer to your mouth.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I can certainly sympathize with all of the challenges that you expressed. I've experienced every single one of those things, including APM and the popcorn. So I'm very sympathetic to that. What I can also say is that within the last few months at the OSCE, we have been discussing those same challenges as they exist across our region, particularly the need to establish networks of practitioners, whether it be prosecutors, law enforcement, NGOs, et cetera, because the nature of trafficking in the region, particularly in Europe and Central Asia, is one that crosses borders, and immediately you start running into cultural and language and practitioner challenges there. So what we would like to do is to engage with you on that very topic of how do we bring those networks to an international level, and we think that you have a lot of promise, and we'd love to talk with you further about what that looks like in the OSCE. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Julia over there.
Hi, Rochelle. I'm Neil Giles. I bored everybody earlier when I was on the panel. Stop the Traffic are a global network with some good ideas and some best practice, I hope. And we major in the prevention arena. We think that would be a great partnership, and we truly believe that consolidation of our sector is the only sustainable way forward. So happy to be consolidated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stop the Traffic. A couple of more minutes. Let's go to Catherine.
Hi, I represent an NGO from Bosnia and Herzegovina, NGO with almost 20 years of experience working in a country which was first country of transit and destination, and who evolved to become a predominantly country of origin of victims of trafficking. So we have huge experience in working in shelter for victims of sexual exploitation, running a helpline and counseling center. So we would be more than happy to help you with anything you might need from us.
Fantastic. Support from Serbia as well.